Good morning, Kimberly. How are you doing? And how's my birthday boy, Eric?
Good morning, and he is quite excited. He's got a lot of birthday wishes already this morning, and he's raring to go.
What
So,
he really needs is some birthday spankings, right, Eric? But but only from the young, beautiful women out there, probably, right?
he says, "Yep, Mom, you know me well."
Uh-huh. All right. So,
He says,
Kim
first of all,
Voigt,
yes,
pardon me.
I love you. He wants me to
Oh,
tell you that to start
oh,
off with.
I
So,
love you too.
yeah,
It's your birthday is my favorite day. It used to be,
yeah,
but we'll get through it. It's only
yeah.
24 hours. Kimberly Voigt, Kim Voigt, you want to talk about Healing Energy 101, and we're going to talk about PTSD and some other fascinating things.
Correct.
And you got some information from my deceased father. Anyway, I will let you take the reins. You take us where you want to go, of course, along with Mr. Eric.
Right. And jump in and ask questions or clarity when if you need. So, what Eric wanted me to talk about, first of all, was to have everybody start thinking about having their fifth dimensional reality and their third dimensional reality going on simultaneously. So above the heart is our spiritual aspects of self, below the heart is our physical aspects of self.
Oh,
And we talked about last time how the heart, if there's unforgiveness or something heavy in the heart, you don't hear your spiritual aspects communicating with your body. And so,
oh, yeah. So is the fifth dimension, is that here?
yes,
We're in the fifth dimension in the top part of our body? Is that what you're saying?
that's where our centers are that we connect with that fifth dimensional energy.
Oh, I see. I got you. All right.
Our throat is where our blueprint is. This is our third eye. This is our perception. This is our connection to source. So
Right.
and our chakras, they work together into the number 8. So if we've had trouble energetically with a connection to source, that could be a cruel parent to religious types of abuse, all kinds of things
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
show up in the physical realm. If we have
Mm.
trouble, obviously, if we have that going on, our perception is going to be off. That's going to affect our second chakra, which is our sacrum, which is our magnetism, our attraction. Addictions can show up there. It can show up
Mm.
in sexuality,
Hmm.
that
Intimacy, probably.
right, intimacy problems, exactly. Difficulty. Eric's saying that's very, very, very common where people have trouble connecting with other people, not just physically intimate, but on an emotional level,
Yeah.
their perception.
And not just romantic intimacy, right?
Right.
Okay. Right.
They
Connecting with
trouble
people on an intimate level.
anyone.
Yeah.
And then into your throat, that's your blueprint, transmutes thoughts and ideas from these two realms into the physical body through the heart to the degree it's open.
Mm.
Then we have our solar plexus, which is our personal power center.
Hmm.
If we had something that affected us, if somebody took our power away, then that would manifest in our throat potentially. So, all these to the number 8, if these imbalances are not taken care of,
Yeah. It manifested all sorts of problems, huh?
right, the
Yeah.
energy don't run properly. And eventually it manifests in physical disease.
Mm.
Eric's reminding me, um, I do hypnotherapy. One of my first clients I had came to me and she was just going to be starting chemo, and she did go that route. And I do not believe she's still alive. This was many years ago, but she had ovarian cancer. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to know the metaphysical reason behind it. I regressed her back to a time when she was a teenager, very religious family. Her
Oh, boy.
brother went to pick up an elderly neighbor. They were going somewhere. There was a car accident. The neighbor was killed.
Oh.
So she didn't die instantly, but so this girl prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed, begged God to save this woman, to save this woman.
But God failed her.
And so she held this resentment, and she withheld her energy from what's creation in the female body.
Right.
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 So it manifests very literally. You know,
Yeah.
you could have trouble if you were not allowed to speak your truth. It can show up as throat trouble or abdominal trouble. You know,
Oh, thyroid cancer. That's probably a big one.
that's another big one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's how that works. So the other thing Eric asked them to lead into was the PTSD aspect of it. And so what he says is what's not really understood is that, well, he says for one thing, there's a lot more people walking around with PTSD than they know and that is ever real.
I totally believe that. They say that even a tonsillectomy can create PTSD, or a fender bender. It's amazing what can create. Of course, I'm sure there's different, like me seeing Erik right after he shot himself in the head. That was a lot more than a tonsillectomy or a fender bender. So there are varying degrees, of course. And
Right.
vets, vets who have seen the horrors of war too.
Right,
So.
right, right. Yeah, so all that comes into play, but he says for someone growing up and developing, he says, so like in our first episode, I told you at 24 months, I disassociated. I started
Right.
PTSD.
Yeah.
So from then on, whenever I would get triggered, my perceptions would actually go to that 24-month-old place and I would go into shock. And so I did not have the ability to perceive or react correctly because I was locked for the longest time at 24 months. I
Yeah.
would walk around normally and act like a normal person until something would trigger me. And then it was just devastating.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And so what Erik was saying to lead into with this was like, and your dad is stepping forward and saying, he's just saying, I love you. I'm just kind of standing in the background if you like.
Okay.
But Erik is saying, so like with your dad, where there was an incident where there was some type of, and I asked him not to go into details because if I get too immersed in the
Oh
details,
yeah. Yeah.
just clear a channel because I'm going to get mad.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm a mom, and so as this teenage boy, he had this incident happen at boarding school where there was some
Yeah.
sexual abuse.
Yeah. That's right. A
So
lot of mediums have told me that same thing.
right, so he says you got to imagine, mom. That's an age of raging hormones,
Mm.
and so what happened? If I look at this list, I mean, he spelled it all out for me. His adrenals would go crazy.
Yeah.
His,
Yeah. See, this is his. I don't know if you guys can see it. Of course, you
yeah,
can't read it on here, but it's quite interesting. And he
yeah,
did have problems with a lot of these organ systems in his life. So.
yeah. So he's saying, so first it started out with shadow function of the gonads, and so the way he dealt with that energy, he would separate or disconnect physically, emotionally, or mentally in order to feel safe. So it made
Yeah.
him not feel safe. His adrenals would get way out of line. And whereas the adrenals on here, and he would, oh, here you go. He would overpower things. He would make people feel shameful.
Sometimes your sound is real muffled.
Maybe I should put my,
Headphones on? Do you have headphones or something?
yeah, let me put these on.
Yeah. Does it have a mic too?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's probably good because it gets muffled, then it's clear and muffled. I mean, not too bad, but.
Yeah, is that better?
But we don't want to miss anything. I don't
Right.
know. I'll have to see when you keep talking.
Okay, so is that better? Can you hear
me? Yeah, so far.
Okay. So so he says, so the adrenals came into play there. So he was overpowered. He would be overpowering, bullying. He endured endless, hopeless confusion because of this, endless worry over the unknowns.
Wait, was he bullied or he is the bully?
This is your dad. This is what happened to your dad
when he was younger. Got it. But in the end, he became a bully.
Right, because this is how your dad ran his energy to manage it. All in shadow function. His perceptions were distorted. Um, did he have kidney trouble as well?
Yeah, he had kidney stones.
Yep, he said um, he would avoid the appropriate feelings of fear to continue to endure toxic emotional these feelings within him. He didn't
Mm,
feel it with it. He would feel like he walked on endless eggshells. Um, he would have to hide his true self. He, well, that's also suppressing his true feelings.
yeah,
He had constant indecisive expressions um, of repressing his feelings and repressing his anger and feeling forced to do things. And so basically what he was just saying, you can just use this for your own reference.
okay,
All of these spirit functions would get activated within him,
yeah,
and never took the appropriate steps to deal with it. And so what Eric's saying is, when someone has something like this happen, and he's saying especially something of a sexual nature, because it
yeah,
disempowers the person. It makes them, if it's not dealt with appropriately, they can never really quite connect intimately with other
yeah,
people. We were discussing earlier. And he said he had no control over his emotions. He was like locked in this hormonally raged 14-year-old anger state
yeah, yeah.
when he would get triggered.
Yeah, that's about the time he was in boarding school, around 14. Well, can you before you go on, explain exactly what shadow function is? I think I understand it, but just for the sake of me and the viewers, what is shadow function?
Well, you have, it's your way of dealing with energy. So when you're dealing in spirit function, you're connected to source, your source, and you're taking the appropriate actions. You're sending out love, rather than shadow function would be withholding love, so you wouldn't be hurt. That type of
Oh, I see, yeah.
function is not where you want to be. Shadow function's that place where maybe pretend things didn't happen or they didn't exist because you don't want to deal with it, rather than
Mhm.
feeling it, forgiving it, engaging, moving it on. You just keep that energy constantly circulating in your body if you're in shadow function.
Okay,
People don't know how to get out of that.
yeah,
They end up staying forever and ever.
yeah. And
And
spirit function
is
is
where you want to be.
where you
That
want to be, right? For example, thymus, spirit function, the ability to feel safe, expressing sufficient aggressiveness to protect yourself from being personally compromised by others' aggression. Shadow function, reactive, being overly aggressive so you unnecessarily cause other people to feel unsafe being around you, which we did.
right.
Okay, that's interesting. That's just one example of all the different functions. Now, can you do these for people? Create these kind of printouts for people who have
Yeah,
PTSD?
yeah, that's the self-awareness formula. So
Ah,
then what we would do is take those areas and guide them, maybe with some regression therapy or whatever, to find the
mm-hmm.
source of this and guide them to shifting into to spirit function, so that they can function their energy.
That's awesome. Do you do Akashic record work also?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Because somebody on the radio show was asking for somebody who did that, so I'll I have an assignment for her first, but then that's next. All right, so go on.
So so what Eric is really saying is, so when people have all of these distractions going on with their lives, and they're constantly re-triggered by things in the past that have bothered them, they are not able to stay grounded into the now moment.
Yeah.
And so what he says is, the most important thing a person can do to stay grounded in the now moment is to, he's showing me aligning with your vertical pillar of light, where you make a connection from the heavens through your body and ground it into the earth. And when you do that and you make that firm connection and you stay in the now moment, you can no longer be triggered by past memories, and you're no longer projecting fear into your future, because that's what you do, project fear or past experiences into your future.
Yeah.
Since your thoughts and emotions create your reality, you keep creating it. It keeps patterning and cycling over and over.
Right.
So the important thing is to stay grounded and
Well, how do you do that? Are you talking about, Erik, or are you talking about some sort of visualization exercise with the pillar of light?
He says that's a really good one. And we can practice do that in a little bit if you'd like to. But he says, yeah, that's a really good one, where he says, if you imagine there being, okay, he's talking about, there's 13 dimensions that he wants to tell about, but because I don't have the language to understand the 13. So he's talking about number 12, if we want to call it number 12, is a point that's a diamond or a platinum ray.
Okay.
So you would kind of meditate and set the intention that you want to harmonize and align your energies, and that you're going to open your chakras. So you would start with that platinum diamond ray, and you'd meditate on that for a moment, and then you'd bring it down into what we're going to call the 11th dimension, which would be gold. And so then you just meditate on a beautiful gold color.
Sounds like a bunch of credit cards.
Yeah. Well, and then you get to the silver.
There we go.
Yeah. So the silver is the next one. That would be above your crown chakra. And then at your crown chakra is purple. You'd imagine opening a doorway in your consciousness, seeing a beautiful amethyst, or you could do a beautiful purple rose, anything, a beautiful purple or a white at the top of your head, opening your crown chakra. And then at your third eye, you could imagine a beautiful blue sapphire or a blue rose, a dark, a indigo blue rose.
Right.
And into your throat, a light blue stone or a light blue rose. And into your heart, a beautiful sparkling emerald, opening the heart. And into your solar plexus, he says you could imagine a piece of citrine, a piece of carnelian, opening at your sacrum, a ruby at your root chakra, going down into the earth. And there's 2 chakras in the earth. There's one below the crest, which is teal and turquoise colored.
Oh.
And below that is kind of a beautiful pink sparkly magenta. So you just energy there. And then you draw it back up through the teal and turquoise, in through the chakras in the bottom of your feet, up through your feet. And it crosses. Remember, I told you it works to your chakras to the number 8. Crosses at figure 8 right at your abdomen, at your solar.
Oh, yeah, right.
So you've got this infinity circle of energy continuously.
Yeah.
So he says that's how you can ground and stay present in the present moment.
Do you have this on your website?
Do I have this one on my website? No, I don't have it on my website.
Okay.
I have stuff on my website, but I do not have this on my website.
Yeah, you do. But okay, well, they can always refer to this. Take notes while you're watching the video. Back up a little bit, people, and just take notes.
And I do do a meditation with the bowls around that. So
okay.
Put on my website. So I'll do that shortly. So yeah, so if you stay grounded and present and just with an open heart, Erik is saying you're actually protecting yourself. You can't, when you've made that firm connection from the heaven and grounded it into the earth, you're protecting yourself. You can't be influenced by, he says you're going to be a lot more connected. You can't be influenced by, say, like someone else's negativity or someone else's karma.
Now, to most people, that would feel so counterintuitive. Open heart, protecting what? I'm just like, it's like laying my soft underbelly out in the open so that the hyenas can get to me. But no.
Protecting yourself, you're amping up your light quota, you're protecting yourself. And what happens then is, even if the hyenas came, you you wouldn't have the same reaction.
Yeah, I just pat him, say, "Good puppy, now go bye-bye."
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I have Lucas's puppy. All that's why I keep looking around. I keep hearing chewing sounds. It's like, oh my God, what are you chewing now? She has already been through 2 MacBook laptop chargers. Oh, anyway, mine and Lucas's. Oh my gosh, she chews everything except for bones. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
You little hyena.
Yeah. So that is the main gist of what Erik was trying to say today. And so he's saying, do you have anything you want clarity on?
Yes, I would like to know, how can somebody tell if they have PTSD?
He's saying the main thing you're going to notice is it's going to be people who, for the most part, act normally. But then things get a little bit off, and you're kind of looking at them like, what just happened? He said, like you could have, he says, like you could be communicating with somebody who gets triggered, and you're having this normal adult communication, and all of a sudden, it's this very snotty, attacking, maybe you're showing me like a woman thing, like me kind of thing. And they got triggered. That was what it is. Or somebody, he says, I'll bet, he says a lot of moms will relate to this. And he's telling me this because I can relate to this.
Yeah, it's the bitch trigger, people.
Yeah, like if somebody harms your child, or you perceive your child, you are going to react like, if you don't have any issues there while you were growing up, you're going to be able to react a lot better than somebody who has issues that hasn't dealt with.
Oh my God, that makes sense, because when somebody does anything to my kids, I overreact. I'm just like the mama bear protecting her cubs. Lift that, 2-ton car off the child's body, and I act like that, which is, probably because of my childhood of abuse, instead of just like handling it in a rational way.
Exactly.
So don't be messing with my kids, people out there, or my grandkids.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. And so it's like, it's this overreaction, or for some people, it could be, he's saying it could be an extreme avoidance where they don't even know why. Like he said, he's saying like something like, oh, he's reminding me of something, like an agoraphobic situation.
Yeah.
He's reminding me, he says to talk about, this was in one of my hypnotherapy classes, a man who suddenly couldn't leave his house for no known reason, but he had been at a convenience store the day before, and it started after that. No idea what it was. So we went to get a regression, and what they found was, 20, 25 years earlier, he had been standing in line at a bank, and they were robbed at gunpoint. So he, big strong man, pretended like it didn't bother him, went about his business.
Oh, yeah.
Till that day, in the convenience store, there was a construction worker in there with a staple gun in his tool belt. He saw it out of the corner of his eye. It triggered him, and he was not able to. Of course, they helped him with hypnotherapy, and he was fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That triggered him, and he couldn't leave the house. And that was just such an extreme degree, because Erik's also saying, bringing it up, if something happened where you feared for your life and you left your body, then that's a little more extreme. Like,
that's interesting, because
when I the battlefield.
Yeah, when I was almost killed by that serial killer in Galveston.
What?
Yeah. Oh God, it was terrible. I was really calm, and I kind of dismissed it for a long time after that. Well, just real briefly, because a lot of people have heard this story. I had just finished several days of being on call. I was really tired. It was like a Monday or Tuesday. So I was a resident, went to the beach in Galveston to read a book. Nobody was there. And all of a sudden, this guy comes down the seawall steps, and I thought, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die." I knew I was in danger. He comes up to me and starts talking to me, and I just acted all cool as a cucumber. And he starts massaging my thighs and talking about how I had cellulites. Like, ugh. I always say that is really rude, even by serial killer standards. You don't talk about a woman's cellulite. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I was just so close to him killing me. And he asked me, "What do you do?" And I said, "Well, I'm a physician and I'm a black belt karate instructor," which I was not. Very calm. So he got a little unsettled and walked away. Then 2 years later, I saw him on the news, the Killing Fields serial killer. So, and he's in prison now. But it didn't seem to bother me. It was like a good party story. That's it. Until kind of recently, and all of a sudden it freaking bothers me. It's just really unsettling, and I can't believe I was almost killed. And so it took decades for it to really sink in that I was so close to being just a picture on a newspaper.
And Erik is saying actually that's because you've done so much work over the years, since he's passed, that you're a lot clearer than you used to be, and so
Oh yeah, maybe
it's coming to the surface for you to release it.
Ah, okay.
And so that's what happens when you start remembering things. And so the thing he's saying again, the thing to do would be to make a conscious effort to say, not an effort. He says, just do it. Just say, forgive, forgive that person, even though it was awful. You send them a white light and it counteracts what they did. You no longer carry it in your aura, in your field, in your chakras.
Well, I might actually visit him in prison and do that.
Mm-hmm.
My family's totally against it, but hey, he's behind bars.
That would be a very empowering thing.
Yeah.
And he says that would help the planet more than he's saying.
Ah, really?
That would help the planet, because he's saying when other people see someone with such an open heart, that they would do that and forgive and leave that other person with a sense of light and love. He says that's going to have a ripple effect, and that's going to help many.
There he is.
Wow. He looks creepy.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, okay, so, were we at a stopping place, or because I want to ask another question?
Ask some more questions.
Okay.
Let's get more casual this time.
Once you find out that you do have PTSD, well, first of all, if you're not quite sure, even given what you and Erik have shared, is there some sort of test, or I mean, how can you be certain that you have PTSD if you're not really clear about it? Go to a therapist to find out, or
He's saying yes. He is saying like a hypnotic regression or meditating. If you've got things that keep coming up, and he's saying the other thing, he's saying those are ways you could find out, but he said in your everyday life, it's the situations that you keep drawing to yourself. That's what's not. Yeah.
So that tells a story of sorts.
Right. So say you were, well, it doesn't even have to be severely disempowered, a little disempowered.
Mm-hmm.
You would keep drawing situations to yourself that are disempowering. And what he's telling me what that actually is the universe is providing you feedback. That's what you're putting out. That's what you're putting out. So you're drawing it back. And it's not like any kind of punishment or karma. It's coming back to you so that, and he says, people are getting clearer. They're starting to recognize it. So you go, okay. And he says, especially if you see or hear something 3 times from 3 different sources.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Because that's telling you, okay, this keeps coming up for me. I have some forgiveness work to do. So say like with you with this serial killer, you hear of him, you see him, whatever. That's a hint to you. Okay, mom, do your forgiveness work. He's saying on that
Mm-hmm.
that will that will clear you. That will set you free. You'll no
Oh,
longer have that in your field. You'll
yeah.
no longer drop situations like that to yourself.
All
Or
right.
it was a situation with, many things could have came up with the way things went with your father.
Yeah.
You could maybe have a tendency to attract men that were disempowering towards you,
Mm-hmm.
that type of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. So it's by watching what you're attracting
But they
to.
can't because I'm a black belt in karate, man, and an instructor black belt. So hell no, no. But one thing that I see a pattern in myself, and I want to see if hopefully this will help other people because I don't want it to all be about me. I tend to have this pattern of being betrayed by people who help me, and when I help them, I always do it in a way where I do not expect anything in return. I
Mhm.
just get joy in helping, like one of my sisters or my family, certain mediums, etc. What is the universe trying to tell me?
To help, Eric's saying to help yourself first. So
Oh, okay.
Eric is saying because he's saying you you're an emanation of love. You're not, how should I say this, Eric? You're not you're not like getting extra merits because you're putting out so much love and doing all these other things.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
You're an emanation of your love so that it just shines from you, and that's what reflects back to you.
Yeah, but why can't I? I'm not a guy. I can multitask. Sorry, guys. But why can't I help others and help myself at the same time?
He's saying there's an expectation that you haven't really let go of in your family. Um, he's showing me there might even be like some past life things with this too,
Okay.
but where you would try to please them, or do things to please or whatever so that you wouldn't get in trouble, and it would backfire on you. You'd get in
Oh
trouble.
yeah, that's probably true of my childhood. That's true. Right.
So
You want to be on the good side of my parents.
right,
If you
right,
didn't want black and blue
right,
marks all over your body. Yeah.
right. He's telling me you're almost, and this kind of goes along with the whole doctor thing too. You're almost kind of looking at always doing things preventatively so something bad won't happen.
Oh, I
What
see.
he's saying is you overthink.
Yeah.
So that
Sometimes. Yeah.
that can
Okay.
come up for you too. He said, rather than thinking, feel.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. You always say that, Eric, and such wise advice. All right, now, to both of you guys. All right, so you have PTSD. What steps do you take? One, two, three. I think really one important thing is probably to get your chakras cleansed and balanced, right? And do the grounding exercise. Uh, oh wait, I wanted to tell you about my sister Terry. She has been doing. I told her to get EMDR, that special eye movement thing where they talk to you and you think about the bad things that have happened in your life while your eyes are going back and forth, and they have other ways to do that. And she came up with this when my parents took her Mr. Bunny and threw it away. And she was like chasing the garbage truck. No, I won't. So that was a huge trauma for her. That so some things can come up in EMDR, these little traumas that you never even thought about. That really, what's traumatic to an adult, it might be completely different than what's traumatic to a child. But anyway, so chakras balanced, grounded. What else?
Well, and he's saying once you start remembering these things, that's when you can let them go. Because
Yeah.
people try to stuff them and not remember them, and maybe they don't want to grieve it or whatever. They just try to pretend like it didn't happen. And so he's saying what's really super one of the things to do is to remember it, take the appropriate steps to remedy it, whether it be forgiveness of yourself, another, whatever, integrate it. And he's not exactly telling me how to integrate it, although he says we all know how to integrate it. We all do it.
Or maybe it's a natural subconscious thing?
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
that's what he's saying. He's saying it just happens naturally as you say it's something you forgive. Because he's saying, and he's reminding me again, because people always want to look for the reason why they should forgive, or why they're trying to gain the understanding of why they should let someone else off the hook or some situation off the hook, and then they'll forgive. He's saying,
it's mostly for us. Forgiveness is for us, not the person we're forgiving.
Right. So he says, get rid of that way of thinking about it.
And for the collective.
And then the clarity comes.
Yeah.
You know, so then you may more things may come up. So say you forgive some big major event. He says, then you may start remembering little events that were similar, and you can just go, oh, wow, I really did create my reality. Well, now that I know that, I can shift and I can do differently.
Yeah.
Like I can, he's saying like one person might, he says, nice-itis, he's calling it, where you're trying to always, not you specifically, so some person is trying to always please other people, you know, and he's saying, but really inside, they're miserable. They don't want to do those things. So they're really being counterproductive, and they're just keeping that circle going. They need to stay in their power and be true to themselves. That's what he's saying. The main thing is be true to yourself. When a memory comes up, forgive it, let it go, and realize that other ones may come up. And he says, then those things are going to stop happening in your lives that re-trigger you. And he says, then you're going to walk around and you'll just kind of observe. He said, you'll be like standing in the middle going, oh, this awful thing is happening in third-dimensional reality. But I understand with my fifth-dimensional perception that, yes, I set this up because I'm still not done with that. Or you might recognize it in another. But he says, what's going to happen eventually, then you're no longer triggered. You could walk by a situation just like what happened to you, and you have that horrible feeling.
Right.
And he says most likely you wouldn't even be involved in it because it would no longer be in your reality. You wouldn't be drawn towards it.
Oh, exactly. Okay. So what about the trauma, like from Mother Earth, like Florence, this horrible hurricane? You know, there's nothing there to forgive. You don't forgive Gaia. I mean, how do you handle something like that?
What Erik is saying is, and if you look at the Akashic record too, a lot of Earth is actually a spirit. Mother Earth is
no, sailor. Sorry.
Has held memory of the wars, murder, all of the quote unquote evil acts that have happened. Held all these memories in her body, and she's going through a shift just as we are going through a shift.
Oh, okay.
Purging. And that's why all of these energies are coming out. They're releasing, they're purging. People can keep themselves a lot safer than they do. They don't realize the power of their mind where, and he's not saying, no, don't be stupid. Don't be saying, oh, I'm not going to be hurt and don't evacuate. Use common sense.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You go. But you, with the power of your mind, can say, no, I'm going to be safe with this. You can set this intention. And by aligning with the vertical pillar of light and not going into the fear mode, because remember, we create a reality. Oh my God, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. You just connect with your vertical pillar of light, set your intention that you're going to be safe. You're going to get through it. The best outcome's going to happen. And he says that'll make it a lot easier for people to do this. And he says,
well, what about after the hurricane? You know, either maybe your neighbors lost their home, you've lost something, or you see on the news how much destruction and damage and death. And that, of course, can be an event that is traumatic and creates PTSD. What do you do to get over that? You can't say, oh, okay, I forgive you, Florence. Flow.
he is saying, those are the times when, and he's saying so often others really step up to the plate. And that's where we see people from all over the world coming to help, and there's all kinds of charity and love, and it really does spark a good reaction.
Yeah.
Saying, he's saying the times that are coming, there may be some
No.
so
Dang it.
are going to have to be adaptable and
Yeah.
manageable with it. And
Okay. But I have to text Lucas to get his dog.
Yeah, you can't really be mad at the hurricane or Mother Earth.
No.
You got to pick up the pieces and move on. And he says the best way to do it is to look at it like, okay, I was just given a gift where I get to start over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Whee!
we know
And move to Nevada or Iowa, man.
Right. And he's saying, at some point there, with storm damage and that, people may have to relocate, whether it be temporarily or, or permanently.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. So
much more than that.
Yeah. All right. So you do the grounding, all this stuff. You handled each situation. Can you have PTSD carry over from other lives, such that past life regression would be helpful, or future lives? Can you have a bleed through? So no major event in this lifetime. What the heck's going on? Why do I have PTSD? Oh yeah, I was a soldier that got knifed in the throat.
Exactly. And so one of the things Erik is saying, so say you were a soldier that got knifed in the throat, or no, Erik's saying tell it a little differently because it could make it a little clearer.
Okay.
Say you were hung for stealing a horse.
Okay.
And you really stole that horse. Well, that energy was completed. That story was completed.
Right.
Say you got hung for stealing a horse that you didn't really steal.
Oh, yeah.
That's unfinished business. You would maybe have some karma about that. So you would come back into this life and, now probably people aren't going to have their horses be stolen, but something similar.
Yeah.
In this life, it would
their
be
dog or something
for them to keep working on. Right.
Ah.
Right. Well, that their life was taken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do. So that would be something, maybe they'd have to work on the forgiveness piece of it, or,
But past life regression.
Come back and now this next time the other person that killed them wants to experience what it's going to be like to be killed. So maybe that person that killed them is going to be the person that gets murdered, and maybe this guy is going to contribute to it in one way.
Oh, yeah.
So, that kind of thing goes on. But he's also saying we're moving to the point where we don't have to have karma anymore, but a lot of people are still playing it out.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. You can be done with it.
Yeah. But anyway, past life regression though would obviate the need to go through some of this stuff, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Coming back, the reason you chose your circumstances in this lifetime were from things you didn't quite learn or you wanted to experience more of in this lifetime. So that's why you planned it in between lifetimes, and that's why you experienced it. Believe it or not, we chose our parents. We chose our circumstances. So,
okay.
But other people have free will, and things have gotten lost up along the way.
But I think that one thing in trying to evaluate whether you have PTSD and what it looks like for you, that going to your site and doing the self-awareness thing with you, or maybe even the Akashic records as well, would be very valuable, I think.
That would be helpful, yes.
Now, where would they find that?
You mean on my site, or what is my site address? Well, if you
everything to give your.
Well, my website is lowercase embody-light.com,
Mm-hmm.
And under my services, I have a tab that says Akashic Records. And it
Ah.
talks about the Akashic Records.
And that's where the self-awareness thing that you printed out from is that where that is too?
Self-awareness is a different thing. One or the other. Akashic Records is going to be more like if we did an Akashic Record session, I would get you into a very, very deep state of relaxation,
Mm-hmm.
but get you in contact with what I call the superconscious.
Mm.
We would get you into the Akashic Records, and we would work from there.
Can that be done remotely?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a fun thing to demonstrate for people. Get a victim, maybe me, I don't know, or somebody, a blog member, and do that.
Erik is saying we should be doing that kind of stuff. He's saying get a little background information first with some of this stuff, but he says, yeah, start doing with this kind of stuff.
So people can see what it entails.
Right. But what the thing he's saying is he's saying we're going to want to start out a little bit slowly with meditations and kind of build up to it, because he says if you practice 5, 6, 7, 8 times, he said you're going to get really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because he says if you jump in, try to do this one time real quick, we're going to do it, and we're limited by.
Oh no! Yeah, no.
Said,
well, maybe it could be somebody who I already know that is really good at meditation. Like my sister Terry. I mean, she's been meditating since.
Well, Erik's saying it would be fun, really fun for you to do, but he's saying let's practice a few times before we do it. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, where can they find out how to get this kind of thing?
Well,
on your site, would it be under services?
If somebody wants that kind of information, that would be the self-awareness program.
And where's that?
That I talk about it on my site, but that's that 120 page questionnaire. I would have to send it to you.
Ah.
You answer these questions, I put it through this program, and then I take your age and the number, because it'll give me a number of, they're called dichotomies, where the energies got muffed up, where they didn't flow properly.
Oh.
So your age divided by the dichotomy. So then I'm going to tell you, okay, and the organs are going to line up at a certain age. Okay, at age 2.5, you would have had something that made you feel dispowered or something. At age 5, something happened that caused a lot of anger. That kind of organ that did that. So then that way we know how you're managing your energies, and so you get a printout of what you've been doing, what the incidents were, and you get that what spirit function, shadow function, so you'd know what to move to.
I think that would be extremely valuable. I also think that the soul happy technique that Tracy Zaboral, and I have trouble with her name, and Kara Hewitt created, that is online and very inexpensive, and it involves some hypnosis as well, where they take away a lot of negative energy and then implant positive energy or thoughts, and I think that's pretty cool. And I've had a lot of people get a lot of success from that. It even entails some EMDR. But so that, what else can people do for PTSD?
He's saying essential oils. Erik's bringing up cannabis for PTSD.
Okay, of course.
But he's saying you to be careful with that, though, because you don't want it used as a form of escapism.
Yeah. Well, it seems like then you're not getting at the root. Yes, you can use crystals like hematite and black obsidian, those grounding, tourmaline, and you can use essential oils or cannabis, but it seems like you got to do the work. You got to uncover the knots and untangle them.
Right, that's it. And that's what he's saying. Some of these things can help you get to the root, but it's not the crystal or the oil or the substance itself. These are just tools to help you.
I gotcha. So you can better see the knots. And
so he's saying, like I do have a crystal in my hand, but he's saying, I don't carry this thinking that all my power is in this crystal. Yeah. I know it just enhances it. He said
Okay.
that's where some people will get tripped up, where they'll think, "Oh, I won't be clear if I don't have my crystals or if I
Oh,
don't have
yeah.
my oils on."
Yeah.
That's not true. He says, but that those things do enhance them.
Is that white quartz?
This is a Herkimer diamond.
Oh, wow. I
Who,
never heard of that.
yeah, from
Looks like the Hope Diamond.
yeah.
Wow.
I wish it was a real diamond.
Oh, that'd be so pretty on a ring.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you or Eric would like to share before we close?
Well, how about sending some chills down your spine? He says, Mom.
Yeah, do that. And we're going to have a little birthday celebration for you, Lucas, and Annika on Sunday. Surf and turf. But Michelle, your sister Michelle's working, so she can't come.
Okay. So what we're going to do here. I'm going to just play some singing bowls on a CD because I can't do the energy work as well. So Eric's saying, Mom, just go ahead and shut your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. And he's going to come in behind you.
Okay.
And I'm going to start. So what I'm going to do to start, when I do energy work on someone, I rub my hands together till I feel them getting warm. That gets the energy flow started. So now I've just got my hands, and Eric's going to superimpose his hands over mine. Well, I felt him get cooler when I did that. And so we're right at the top of your head. Got one hand on each hemisphere of your brain.
Brain? What brain? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So when I do this, I feel a pulsation in my hands. And so if you just kind of tune in. And then we're going to just bring it down a little bit. And now we're making contact with your third eye. And we have one hand in the front of your forehead and one hand in the back of your head.
Oh, yeah, I feel tight there, yeah. Wow. Oh, weird.
Can you feel it pulsating?
No, I just feel it squeezing.
Squeezing, yeah.
But also I feel sad because it choked up because his energy reminds me that it's his birthday.
Yeah, he says, Mom, if tears come, go ahead and let them flow. They're very healing.
Yeah.
He says, I love you so much. He's giving you kisses.
I love you too.
And now down into your throat. We're lowering him down into your heart.
My broken heart.
He's putting his, he's just really, really turning up the love factor here. He's saying just feel me loving you, making that connection from heaven to earth. Now down into your solar plexus. Down into the sacrum. And so when I'm working, and what Eric and I are aiming for here, and what's happening is, so we'll get to a certain area, and you might, like, we have a hand in the front of your body and a hand in the back of your body, and we might feel much more energy flow, more tingling in the back or the front. So we hold the pose until we feel the energy and the pulsation even out. And so, like at your sacrum right now, it's evening out. But when we first started, there was a lot more activity in the front part of the chakra than the back portion. So now it's evening out. And this is your emotional body. So there's been a tendency to want to curtail it here so that you don't feel the pain. But he said, here's where you also experience beauty and joy, Mom.
Yeah.
So just relax into that. And he says, are you afraid to feel him because you're afraid it's going to hurt too bad?
Probably on a subconscious level. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah. He's saying, if grieving does come up, grieve it. Don't pretend like it doesn't. It probably will still come up, but he says, as you let it out of your body, you're going to feel better and better. So don't tell yourself it's been enough time, I have to stop.
Oh, no.
Don't ever.
I tend to do that. It's like, come on, pull yourself up by bootstraps. And a lot of grieving people, parents, etc., I'm sure do that too.
Yeah. And he says, just take the time. If you want to grieve, take that 5-10 minutes or whatever, have yourself a good cry, because he said tears are cleansing and you're going to feel better after.
Okay.
And then down into your roots. So we're going to draw that energy from your root down into your feet, out through the bottom of your feet, into the turquoise and teal, and into the magenta in the center of the earth. And we're going to bring it back up into the teal, into the bottoms of your feet, and up through your solar plexus. We're going to make that infinity symbol, an 8. And then we're going to go up above your head to the silver, gold, and diamond, and continually making a number 8.
Is there platinum too?
Diamond and platinum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can do either diamond or platinum.
Oh, okay. So that's the same spot. Okay.
And so now I'm going to withdraw my hand, and Eric's got his hands. He's standing on your side, and he's got his right hand in the front on your heart and his left hand in the back. And he's giving you a hug.
Oh, that's what I envisioned him. I envisioned him on my right side, so that would make sense given the placement of his hands.
Yep, that's where he is.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps. Can you feel them?
No. But I know he's there.
Yeah. He said, Mom, it's subtle, and you'll notice me more and more. You'll start to feel me. He said today it's probably a little hard, and he said I probably called you on the spot a little bit because it's my birthday.
Yeah, I'm sure this is probably one of the hardest. The next hardest is going to be October 6th, and then October 12th when you were buried. But
oh, sweet boy. I can just feel him, just giving you love.
I love you, Erik.
He says, I'm going to be around you a lot, Mom.
Good.
So just go ahead and open your eyes.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
This was awesome. You guys check out Kim's site, embody-light.com, all lowercase. And explore her website. She's got a lot to offer. And so I guess I will see you 2 Fridays from now. Same time, same place.
And he says, I love you, Mom. Bye-bye.
Bye, love you.
Oh, he said one quick thing. I was teasing him this morning. I told him he had to apologize to you for the labor and delivery.
Oh, I don't care. It was pleasurable just knowing what was going to be the end result.
Yeah. But he just had to bring that up because I was giving him a little bit of a hard time.
All right. Thank you, Kim.
Bye-bye. You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.